So I'd just like to give a heads up for anyone who's listening and watching. BBFC has published their new guidelines for 2024. It's going to be released sometime around May for all types of films, but they just decided to present some preliminary for everyone who is curious. Unfortunately, they didn't publish a PDF report on such a thing just yet, although I am waiting to hear out what types of films that they evaluate and how did they decide, the public response, this should have been a 15, this should have been an 18, this and this and this, so on and so forth. I did do a video quite a few years ago about the 2019 report and gave my thoughts. This one is a little bit different in that they decided to go in a little bit harder on violence this time. Their policy on sexual violence will still stay the same, which is good because no one wants to see that. But they are going to be a little bit tougher on the sort of non-sexual violence department. So hopefully we can see films, that play a little bit like Joker or Love Lies Bleeding or Traders, that Irish film, hopefully get more 18s than they would 15s. Even the film Monkey Man, which was rated under the current system that was imposed since 2019, has now been rated 18 for its strong bloody violence, which that's quite promising. Let's just hope that they don't censor it to try to appeal to those John Wick type peoples. But nonetheless, another big thing that they're also going to lessen it down on is cannabis. If you want to smoke ganja, you can show it in a 12A nowadays. It depends on context and everything, but they're not going to be as hard on it as they originally were. I think part of that is because it's been legal in quite a few countries. Germany's likely to legalize it. Malta legalized it. I think Portugal, they decriminalized it. And in parts of the US and all of Canada, they legalized it for recreational consumption. So it's only a matter of time Britain is going to probably catch on to it any minute. But I doubt Rishi Sunak or Keir Starmer, worried about the older vote, would let some of that pass. Even though they probably were smoking a little reefer when they were students at their very established universities. They're also going to lower it down on solvent abuse as well, which I think probably makes sense. I know people like to sniff glue and inhale on paint thinners, but just chill out on it a little bit. You don't have to give everything an 18 just because someone sniffs glue, even though it's certainly much more accessible and legal than someone snorting cocaine or heroin of that sort. Language, they are going to toughen up a little bit on as far as words at like PG level, like son of a bitch or dick, which I guess, well, they're not nice words, nor is shit, but they're taking the nostalgia away from me. I remember films like Men in Black and stuff having quite a lot of swearing at the PG level, and now they're probably going to be bumped up to 12 and stuff. I'm just like, oh, come on, here we go. Pluto Nash, that certainly wouldn't be a PG nowadays. The Eddie Murphy film, that was one of the dying days of the PG when it could be a bit more adult than it is now. It's just mostly kids' films. There is unfortunately a downside to all of this, is when they did release the classification guidelines, and they're shown on the PDF website, not the report, but just the guidelines themselves. As of today, they didn't list theme on the boxes for each category, which I find a little bit strange because usually they highlight at least what themes can be discussed or allowed at particular categories. But I mean, they mentioned it in the very beginning of the document alongside tone and impact, but I think they made instead wave for something like suicide and self-harm instead of theme itself. At 15 they usually say no theme is prohibited provided the treatment is suitable for 15-year-olds. There wasn't even that. So hopefully they can make some revisions. It's not too late, I hope. Fingers crossed. But I would be very interested to see what types of movies they evaluated with We're Family, UK, and then their other research that they did, sort of like house hunting and doing calls and stuff and saying, what did you think of this and that, so on and so forth. Because that is the best thing I enjoy about these research evaluations and these PDF reports I've been reading since 2009 or 2014. Just as I was more or less visiting the BBFC website very frequently. Even when I wasn't 18, I still would check it out. Because I just was curious to see why they made the decisions that they did. And, I saw Cocaine Bear as part of We Are Family UK focus group event. And that was one of the best days of my life at the Cineworld O2 Greenwich. And I would love to do it again if the opportunity arises come 2029. Hopefully I won't be dead or committed suicide by then, but, well, that's another story. But nonetheless, keep up the good work, and I hope to see what type of films you evaluate. I'm sure Joker, and obviously Cocaine Bear, will certainly get talked about. A lot of these also other violent and shocking films that somehow managed to slip through the cracks at the 15 and 12A categories, because from PG some milk taste and no one really uses 18 as much these days as like they used to. I don't believe in banning any sort of films, no matter how shocking and controversial they are, because ultimately people will find them at the black market or download it illegally on their computer or torrent it. Don't do that. You're going to get viruses, and not only that, but you're probably going to get the police knocking on your door. Signing off.